Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Cold Hard Truth podcast. I'm Anish Gupta.
I'm Luke Rosenthal.
So we got our most regular guest of the show, Luke, back. And again, appreciate you for coming on, brother.
Of course,
How are things going?
Things are going pretty well. School's starting back up soon, so just getting ready for that, and obviously the playoffs.
Yes, and we all know Luke is a huge Packers fan, so we always get him on for the Packers episodes. So today is going to be a Packers-Rams preview, kind of a detail about those two teams. And to kind of get it started, obviously, like me and Jack, we were kind of skeptical on the Packers coming in. I didn't know if they could repeat their 13-win season. Obviously, they did, but this is a lot better of a 13-win team than it was last year. I think all Packers fans kind of realize that. And the second year with Matt LaFleur, I think Matt LaFleur has been, thrown under the bus a little bit too much last year, but now I think we all realize he should be up there for, top 10 coaches. He's been amazing. And then Aaron Rodgers, I mean, what else is there to say? 48 touchdowns, 5 picks. One of the best statistical seasons in recent memory. So, as a Packers fan, the last time we had you on was, I think, after week 1. And I think safe to say that the season went pretty well. So why don't you give a recap of how the Packers season went?
So obviously offensively, this was came out of nowhere almost. Didn't really expect anything like that going into this season, especially from where they were last year. I think Aaron Rodgers was like 26 touchdowns, two interceptions. It looked like he was on the decline. But going into the season, didn't think too much of the Packers offense. I actually thought defensively they were going to improve because they showed signs last year that they were heading in that direction. But it kind of just exploded. I think definitely Matt LaFleur has proven that he's one of the best, I think, scheme guys, best offensive minds in the league. I just love how the narrative quickly changed from the Packers have no weapons to, oh man, Davante Adams is the best receiver in football, and then Aaron Rodgers is making guys like Robert Tonyan, perennial names. Marquez Valdes-Scantling had a pretty good season. He led the league in yards per catch, I believe, 20 yards per catch. So I was very happy with the offensive performance, especially the O-line. The O-line really just goes unnoticed. I think when you think of the great O-lines, you typically think of the Cowboys, even they didn't have a great year this year. But now the Browns, your team, has an amazing offensive line. I think they're the number 1 ranked by Pro Football Focus. I think Packers are number 2. Yeah. But David Bakhtiari, losing him, it's a tough loss, and it came at the absolute worst time. But I think that the depth that they have behind him, they're going to move some pieces around. Obviously, they got Ricky Wagner, they got Billy Turner, and then they just signed Jared Valdir off the Colts practice squad, although he did just go on the COVID list, so that's not too great. But overall, tremendous season. I think this is probably my favorite Packers team to watch
Really?
out of all my years of being a fan. Yeah, it's definitely up there with like the 2014 team, 2011 team. This was Aaron Rodgers' best season. I just love the fact that he took what the haters said, what the doubters said about like the Jordan Love stuff, the Jordan Love pick, and he just came out and had his best season of his career. So it was very fun to watch, and I'm glad that Aaron Rodgers is back. So,
I mean, it's not even like I think he's just been great, and people just take advantage of his greatness. I mean, like the dude is spectacular. I would say my favorite Packers team to watch was 2016 when they ran the table. That was my favorite.
Aaron Rodgers during that run, the 6-0 run, that was the best quarterback play I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
I
mean, like, people underestimate this dude. I think obviously we know what he is. He's definitely a top 10 quarterback of all time. And I think with the Packers, I actually wanted to ask you this question. So, with Aaron Jones, he's been tremendous, right? But A.J. Dillon looked really good. And I think Aaron Jones' contract is up, if I'm not mistaken, in this offseason. Yep. So, running backs are not really that, like, specific running backs aren't that important. Like, they're kind of expendable. So would you keep Aaron Jones going into next year?
I think I've been telling all my TikTok followers this. So obviously the running back position isn't as valuable as other positions, but I think a guy like Aaron Jones, who's so dynamic, not only in the run game, but in the pass game as well. He's shown the past 2 seasons, making the Pro Bowl this year. He is worth the money. But with that being said, the Packers don't really have the money right now. There are some cap casualties that you can cut, like Preston Smith is a candidate, Dean Lowry is a candidate, Lane Taylor is another candidate. So you could move some guys around to, get the money for that. But I think like you said, A.J. Dillon, they drafted him highly because they knew they were going to be in a situation like this. People were questioning it at first, but now that everything's sort of played out, it's making sense. A.J. Dillon looks like a stud. if I had to put money on it, I doubt that the Packers are going to end up re-signing him. I think he's proven that he's probably a top 6 back in the league, around there, definitely top 10. I think he's gonna ask for a lot of money. And he deserves a lot of money, especially with his new agent. I know his new agent is big on getting his players the most money that they can in these deals. But yeah, unfortunately, I don't think that the Packers are gonna bring him back. Aaron Jones is one of my favorite players to watch. But you said like AJ Dillon, I think he's gonna be able to fill in that role pretty nicely.
Yeah, so by the way, I didn't mention it earlier, but please go follow his TikTok, Football Fan Zone. I'll leave it in the description. Again,
it's
my
changing
favorite
soon.
football page to watch. So
It's changing soon. Not going to be Football Fan Zone anymore. It's going to be Lambo Luke. Yes, sir.
I like that. Lambo Luke. So again, new name change. Watch out for that. Again, my favorite football TikTok page. It's actually the first one I ever watched. So please go take a look at it. I'm always watching his lives. I love them. So again, one of my favorite guys to have on. And back to, I think, with Aaron Jones and stuff, I agree with you. I think they probably won't re-sign him, but he is very elusive again in both facets of the field. And I think that's going to be the key against the Rams. So obviously we do know with the LA Rams, I've always been kind of an avid supporter of them because Cooper Kupp's one of my favorite players. But so I made a take earlier in the year when they were 9-4. I said they were one of the 3 most dangerous teams in the NFC. And lo and behold, they lose to the Jets the next day. But I think that take is kind of working out because they are in the divisional round and they are one of the 4 best apparently. So, we all know Jared Goff had 3 pins in his thumb and still outplayed Russell Wilson, which was kind of ironic to me.
Yeah, wild.
I know. And I think, Cooper Kupp is on, not the COVID. He had a knee injury. I think he's day-to-day. I don't know if he's fully
he's questionable to play.
Questionable, exactly. And then Aaron Donald also. He's questionable, but honestly, for Aaron Donald, this was the first big performance he's had in a playoff game. Coming into the year, he had 0.5 sacks in 4 playoff games. So this was the first time I really saw him step up in a big game, and I was blown away. I mean, this is why he is the best defensive player. And you could argue best player overall. I won't argue it because of the quarterbacks. I think the value is there, but I mean, this Rams team is scary nonetheless. But for me, the reason why I think the Packers have this matchup under control is because the last time Aaron Rodgers lost at Lambeau Field in the playoffs was 2013, and that was coming off a collarbone.
Exactly.
He doesn't lose at Lambeau in winter. He's just been spectacular there. So, but I did want to talk about another matchup, and I think that's the one everyone wants to see. It's Davante Adams and Jalen Ramsey. Now, I told Luke this, I think 2 months ago, that Davante Adams, I'm high on him. I've been a huge fan of him. I've been telling him this. So I told him that this guy is the best receiver in football, and I think he's lived up to it. And I'm sure Luke does not disagree with that. I don't think anyone can disagree with that right now. 1370 yards and 18 touchdowns, but he is going up against the best cornerback in the league. So how do you think that matchup is going to go?
I actually think it's going to go a little bit differently because I feel like a lot of fans are just expecting Jalen Ramsey to, cover him the entire game. That's not what's going to happen. Usually the Sean McVay's defense, they'll play sides. So we are going to see Jalen Ramsey versus Davante Adams lined up against him quite a lot. But in this Matt LaFleur scheme, he moves Davante Adams all around the field, whether that's on the outside, whether it's in the slot, in motion. He moves him all around. He gets him open. We've seen teams specifically try to stop Davante Adams, doubling him, whatever it may be, and it doesn't really matter. Aaron Rodgers has always been able to force it to Davante Adams, not in the Tampa Bay game, but it's usually gone Davante Adams' way. But I'm more interested to see how these other corners are going to play against Davante Adams. Darius Williams, who just had a pick 6 last week, he's been outstanding this whole season, goes unrecognized. Troy Hill is a really good player. I'm interested to see Davante Adams lined up against those guys, but if it is Jalen Ramsey versus Davante Adams a majority of the time, I don't think either of them are going to have a crazy game. I don't think Jalen Ramsey is going to shut down Davante Adams. I don't think Davante Adams is going to have 130 yards, 3 touchdowns or whatever. I think Davante Adams will be involved in the offense. I actually think this game is going to be more so the Aaron Jones game because the Rams didn't play the rush very well last week. I think they let up over 150 yards rushing to Russell Wilson, Chris Carson. But I think Davante Adams will get involved in the offense. I expect him to have a touchdown. He seems to always get a touchdown or 2 every single game.
I'm telling you, that was my thing with him. He had 3 years over 10 touchdowns. That's why I picked him for leading the league this year. He's just I don't know why. He just finds the end zone. So
he just does. Aaron Rodgers loves throwing it to him, especially in the red zone. He's that guy.
Exactly.
But I think if I had to project it, I think Davante will probably have around He'll have a decent game around like 7-8 catches, 70 yards, 65 yards, and touchdown. I don't think it'll be anything crazy, but I think it'll be just enough.
So I think I'm a little bit of I'm trying to excuse my bias here, but I think Davante is going to have a big game because you're right, though. I was going to say that because it's similar to Kyle Shanahan. They move their receivers a lot, and that's how Deebo Samuel was able to get 133 yards against the Rams. They move him around. So they're going to do that with Davante Adams. And you're right, Darius Williams, honestly, I thought he was a Pro Bowl snub. The dude was insane. The Rams have the best secondary in the league, but the thing is, Davante Adams is going to be moving around. That's why Metcalf was still able to get a couple touchdowns in the game, was because he wasn't on Jalen Ramsey the entire time. But when he was, Jalen shut him down. And I think that's what's going to happen. I think on the matchups that we see Adams and Jalen Ramsey, there will be plays where Jalen Ramsey just takes him out of the field. But there will be times where Davante Adams can find that separation, and when he does, he's electric. He's electric in every facet of the NFL field, and I still believe he's the best route runner. I know people will say Stephon Diggs. I still believe it's Davante Adams.
Yeah, no doubt.
I think he has the best route tree since probably Antonio Brown in his prime. So I still think Davante Adams is going to have a big game. So you said 75 yards. I'm going to say I think he cracks 90. I don't know if he'll crack 100, but I think 90 and a touchdown, maybe 2, because the last time we saw him in the playoffs, I'm going to exclude the Niners game, but like at home last time we saw him 160 and 2.
Killed the Seahawks.
Exactly. So I think he's going to have a big game. Now, I think the main thing with this is I wanted to ask you this too. So back to Aaron Rodgers. So we talked about it before the episode, but if he were to win, this game, and let's say he goes on to win the Super Bowl, obviously I think we all know he's going to win MVP. So that's 2 rings. I say he wins Super Bowl MVP as well. So that's 2 rings, 2 Super Bowl MVPs, and 3 regular season MVPs. Where would you put him on your all-time list?
I mean, he's got to be in the top 5, right?
Yeah, sure.
He's obviously, I think, one of, if not the most talented quarterback in all of history. You could put him up with guys like John Elway, Tom Brady, even now Patrick Mahomes. I think he's definitely one of the most. Dan Marino's another one. He's one of the most talented quarterbacks of all time. But obviously, football is the ultimate team sport. And he hasn't had the I'm not even going to say the offenses. He hasn't had the defenses to, help him win those championships. I think this year is a different year because obviously they have the number 1 seed and they're not really going up against obviously the Rams have an elite defense, but I don't feel like any of these defenses feel like the 49ers last year per se.
And the Rams have the weakest offense, so out of anyone in the playoffs.
Absolutely. So I think this would do wonders for his not only his career but for his legacy. When you start thinking about I think it's known by now he's going to win the regular season MVP. Yeah. You start thinking about that. He's up there with guys like Peyton Manning, Brett Favre, Tom Brady. Those are like the only sort of guys that are in that, echelon. Yeah. And then obviously another ring, it's not going to compare to anything like Joe Montana or Tom Brady yet. But when you start to think like, oh, Drew Brees has all these records, but he only has 1 ring. Can you put him over a guy like Drew Brees all time? Yeah. I think you can.
100%.
So I think definitely he'll be top 5, but I don't think he's done yet. Only 37 years old, just turned 37. So I don't think he's done yet, but I think this will work wonders for his legacy. Definitely going to be in top 5.
So last year, I actually thought he was an injury away from potential retirement. He might still be another big injury away because I think he's had 2 collarbones now. I don't know if it was the same side.
I think they were different ones.
Different ones, yeah. So I think with Aaron Rodgers, though, it's just he's finally found that love for football again. I always tell people this, like, the Pat McAfee show, he's always on it. Like he was talking about, how Danica, the relationship was pretty toxic. I mean, he got over that. Now, the Jordan Love thing definitely kind of motivated him. And you can see how much more happy he is on the field, celebrating with teammates and stuff. Again, on the Pat McAfee show, it looks a lot more casual and stuff. So He's definitely more excited to play football. And I think you're right. He's definitely got a few more years in him. He shows no signs of slowing down. He looks just as mobile as he was last year, if not more, in the pocket. And again, I just don't know how he does it with his one-hand release. I mean, the only one that comes close is maybe Josh Allen with 1 arm, but it's just
he does it off his back foot too. He never has his feet set. It's incredible.
I don't know how he does it because usually footwork, you want to emphasize that, but like with Aaron Rodgers, it really doesn't matter, and he's just that good. So I think to kind of shift over to the game itself, I think. With the game, I think my keys to the game would probably be obviously for the Packers. As you said, it is actually to run the ball because you want to chew up in any playoff game. The key is time of possession. The Saints won the game. I think they probably had the most dominant victory on wildcard weekend. And it was because their time of possession was 40 minutes to 20 minutes. So you basically want that if you're the Packers. You want to keep it in Aaron Rodgers' hands. And obviously the Packers defense is susceptible to the run. So Cam Akers will be a guy to look out for, especially with Whitworth coming back under his a game under his belt. So he's going to be a lot more uh, mobile, I guess, for an old offensive lineman. But again, yeah, Cam Akers would be the guy to watch out for if I'm the Packers. I think you would agree with me there. But yeah, I would say
Yep.
key to the game is time of possession, and then Aaron Rodgers. He doesn't make mistakes, so I can't even say limit mistakes. But again, Davante Adams has to get open. He's got to at least have a good game. I think if they're going to
Yeah.
win comfortably. So any key to the game that you wanted to throw out there for the Packers?
I think a lot of people are going to focus obviously on the number one offense, the Packers, versus the number one defense in the Rams. But I want to flip the script. I actually am more focused on the Rams offense versus the Packers defense. Last week we saw Jared Goff go 9 of 19. He wasn't even supposed to play. It was honestly pretty cool to watch him go out there and do that. Very commendable. But the Packers defense got hot all of a sudden. They're just the final 6 games, and I feel like that goes unnoticed. In 5 of their last 6 games, they held opponents under 20 points. And even in the Titans game, when we expected Derrick Henry to just rush for 400, 500 yards, they held him to under 100 yards. So I think the defense is really starting to come along. And in frigid Lambeau, I think it's going to be below freezing. It should, hopefully. How is Jared Goff going to play, especially coming off his broken thumb?
That's a good point.
I don't know how well he's going to play. We don't know if Cooper Kupp is going to be healthy enough to play. Obviously, Robert Woods is a really solid receiver, but I'm not sold on this Rams offense beating this Packers defense. I'm really not, and that's why I'm picking the Packers in this game. Because everybody says, defense wins championships. Well, that's not what we saw last year. We didn't see that last year from the Kansas City Chiefs. And I think we're starting to head into another direction where, I think offense is going to be the key to win to this game, and we haven't really been able to see anyone stop the Packers offense.
I was literally about to say that because in my Patrick Mahomes video, I'll probably leave the link up there, but I said also that Super Bowl, I think, was the turning point. I think that's where offenses are going to start to be more dominant. It's going to be more offensively driven league. But, I completely agree in that sense too. Like Jared Goff has always been a California quarterback. Played at Cal. He's always been in, warm stadiums. I think in LA also, obviously, their stadium was indoor, but they've always been in hot weather. They've never been in this cold, freezing Lambeau. And like you said, it's going to be really cold there. Interesting to see how they do. And I don't know if he's going to be up to the task. But I think if you're going to somehow win this game, it's winning the line of scrimmage. Obviously, Bakhtiari is out. And I think the best part was, though, that they played Aaron Rodgers week 17, so we could at least kind of get a game adjustment, right? Yeah. Because they were still fighting for that first seed. And we've seen the last 4 quarterbacks to rest week 17 and play a playoff game, they're 1-3. So, and Aaron Rodgers was one of them in 2011. So I'm so glad that he didn't rest week 17. And I'm glad that, they had to have something to fight for, because now it's going to keep the juices flowing and stuff, and keep them motivated to win this game. Yep. But I'd say the key for the Rams is to, again, win the line of scrimmage, and Aaron Donald, he's got to be healthy. I'm really hoping he is, just for him, for his sake.
Too.
But he's got to dominate.
I want to see the best beat the best.
Yep. Like, he has to dominate this game. And also the Rams have to win the line of scrimmage on the offensive side of the ball. So they would have to, again, go for, I know the Packers stopped Derrick Henry, but yeah, Cam Akers is going to have to do better than Derrick Henry if they're going to have any chance in this game. So I think kind of moving on to the game picks, Luke, if you want to give your game pick, give a score prediction or something, maybe a certain stat you want to throw out there. But yeah, go ahead.
Here's a stat. Jared Goff has played 2 games in under freezing conditions, okay? In those games, 0 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. I'm not liking Jared Goff in this game at all, especially against a sticky Jair Alexander. You got Preston Smith and Zadarius Smith off the edge. Rashawn Gary's had a great year. And now you had a guy like Snacks Harrison late in the season to really, open up holes and open up things for Kenny Clark, because he hasn't had the greatest year. I'm picking the Packers in this game, 27-21. I'm not sold on the Rams offense versus the Packers defense. But I am sold on this Packers offense. I haven't, they showed one game where they haven't been able to move the ball at all, and that was against the Buccaneers, and that was week 6. It's a completely different game, or a completely different time now. I'm picking the Packers in this game, 27-21.
So I'm going to agree with you here. I think the Packers win this game. I got it a little bit more, not lopsided, but I got them 31-20. Now, I think you're right. I think the last game I remember Goff playing in freezing temperature, I think was against the Bears, and they only mustered 6 points. It was that year that they went 13-3. So I just don't think he's meant for this freezing temperature. And that's such a huge factor that people fail to realize when picking games. It's just weather, you know, sometimes like, for example, Denver's mile high air. I always bring it up every time someone plays in Denver, but it's just a factor traveling from one coast to the other. That's another factor too. They're going to have to be traveling. It's a time difference. I mean, not the biggest thing, but something to consider. And I think that's why the Packers are just more comfortable at home. This is such a big thing for them. I don't know how many fans are going to be there. Not a lot.
I think they're having 6,700, so 6,000 around.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think that's around 10% capacity. So not a lot, but that's still a help for, you know, the Packers fan base. You know, they go wild. So I think the Packers win this game, and I don't think it's going to be that close. I would say, you know, yard-wise, I think they're going to dominate, but I think the Rams maybe get a couple touchdowns in the fourth quarter, try and make it a comeback, but just not enough. But the key also is they can't Packers got to build it early because, you know, Sean McVay goes up. He doesn't really blow a lead. So I think the Packers win this game, though. But again, to kind of wrap this episode up, thanks so much, Luke, for hopping on. Again, I'll leave his links down below in the description. Please check it out. Again, there's a name change, and he puts out the best content for every team. So it's not just the Packers. It's got my team as well. So, you know, be sure to check him out. Again, drop a sub down below. It only takes a couple seconds of your time, and a like. We'd really appreciate that. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you next time.